They're using children. The blood of the innocent is the currency of their dark economy across all things. All UAP, NIH, UFO things all tie back into global trafficking campaigns and ritualistic child sacrifice. Every single thing that's ever got dug into comes back to that. And again, because that's the currency and how they're breaking open to receive the advanced knowledge for the tech. It is 100% a satanic, luciferian, high-level influence campaign.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
In the Epstein files, there's receipts showing that babies were sold to Epstein.
We have this woman who sends a photo of her baby to Epstein and says, "Your generosity has no limits," after receiving an unbelievable sum in her bank account, and that she's never seen such a number in her bank account. Harvard professor Martin Nowick emailed Ghislaine in 2002 to thank her for her hospitality, and out of nowhere said, "I'm so happy I didn't kill anybody," referring to their visit.
If you haven't seen that video, it's here and you can watch that maybe after this one. But in this video, I want to focus on, as I've looked more into what is inside of the Epstein files, there is increasingly bizarre, esoteric, dark stuff that he was interested in. In this video, we're going to focus on some of that. And honestly, for me, it raises a lot of questions. So for example, what is the connection between Epstein and Deepak Chopra?
My first experience with spirituality was with LSD when I was 17. So, I can honestly say that it was my first kind of excursion into other dimensions. When you use these substances that have been used for thousands of years as part of a ritual, under shamanic supervision, they shift you, they trap your energy, they release your energy along certain lines.
You are a really, I think, great spokesman for this non-local awareness.
Identity.
Yes.
Am I a citizen of my tribe? Mm-hmm. Am I a citizen of my nation? Am I a citizen of this planet, or am I a cosmic citizen?
From Deepak Chopra to Jeffrey Epstein, subject non-local study. Deepak Chopra is connecting Epstein with this doctor here, doing experiments on autistic kids to see what kind of special abilities can be unlocked. So what you're looking at here are these two girls copying the behaviors of the boy. All three are blindfolded.
Good. Nice. All right, so now do something different with your body.
A caravan trip has been really wonderful in meeting people that are stage 3. You'll see this come up often. These are people who are developing a different perspective of reality and discovering the gifts that they have. Also, in rallying others who have a strong interest in this area. Among the new projects emerging include a base to use science-based approach and Eastern practices to help sort these stage 3 people out. So again, you have a mixture of Eastern practices and scientific approaches. In another file here, they're talking about these RF signals. It says these transmitters send a signal of RF, audio and video, that are used to make people receive the signal in a way that interferes with their central nervous system. These transmitter people use extensive conditioning techniques to make people experience tactile, auditory, and visual hallucinations. It is used extensively to molest children.
Classic stage 3, a young girl who was traumatized through sexual abuse as a young child and is now gradually developing special and supernatural abilities, can sound pretty crazy until you understand all of these ancient religions, all these ancient mystery schools for which Jeffrey Epstein clearly, pulls a lot of his beliefs from.
And why is Epstein's house just riddled with this bizarre symbology?
And up on the ceiling, a hand-painted sky filled with animals, constellations, and zodiac symbols staring down at whatever had taken place below. The sculpture was positioned directly in front of it, so what you saw when you looked up that staircase wasn't just a woman on a rope. It was a bride, veiled, barefoot, looking down, descending from the heavens, falling from paradise like a scene from a Renaissance painting of an angel cast out of heaven.
Now, this is where it gets almost unbelievably bizarre and dark, and it reads honestly like science fiction. I cannot believe this is actually real, and it, at least for me, causes me to step back and ask, what hypothesis or what paradigm actually explains his interest in these topics? Like, what is actually going on here?
Epstein was obsessed with transhumanism, the idea of using technology and genetic engineering to create superior human beings. He told multiple scientists about his plan to turn his Zorro Ranch in New Mexico, a 7,500-acre compound with its own airstrip, helipad, and a 26,000 square foot mansion miles from anywhere, into a breeding compound where he would impregnate up to 20 women at a time.
With one of the victims writing about it in detail in her diary. Controlled all by Jeffrey, and go to New Mexico? What in the hell? He is now controlling everything. Superior gene pool? Why me? I miss the person I was before I was made into what feels as a human incubator.
Here they're talking about designer babies, and he says this gets us out of the self-funded garbage biology phrase to the first live birth of a human designer baby and possibly a human clone within 5 years. Once we reach the first birth, everything changes and the world will never be the same again. Now, another email that I found just extraordinarily bizarre was this one. From Jeffrey Epstein to Lawrence Krauss. Lawrence, can you pin an article on how to debunk claims? Alien abductions, for example. Many people share similar stories, ghosts, out-of-body experience. I'd like it to include some of the criticisms that haven't been brought, i.e. 10 years of similar stories. Just give it to me. It will not have your name attached at all.
Epstein was looking to debunk similarities between alien abductions, ghosts, and out-of-body experiences.
How does that make any sense? And like, what does aliens have to do with any of this? This is crazy. All of a sudden, as a distraction, some people have thought, or as a connection, other people have thought, all of a sudden, aliens are rising in terms of the cultural conversation.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in, what is it?
Area 51?
Area 51. There's no underground facility, unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the President of the United States.
Barack Obama said that aliens are real. Have you seen any evidence of non-human visitors to Earth?
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. You know?
So aliens are real?
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. He made a big mistake.
Trump then posted, based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant government agencies, departments, to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, and unidentified flying objects.
Dr. Greer, I know that you have essentially written a speech for the president to deliver if he decides to do this. I want to quote just the first line. My fellow Americans and all citizens of Earth, it has come to our attention that extraterrestrial civilizations of great technological advancement have been visiting Earth for some time. Could you see President Trump being the first president to step to the podium and deliver a speech like that?
I do, and apparently his daughter-in-law believes so as well.
But you're privy to the other side of it, and he could come to a podium and say that aliens are real, they are visiting us, and they have been visiting us for millennia. Something to that effect, correct?
Correct.
Now, one of the weirdest things about aliens being talked about in the Epstein files at all, and then all of a sudden, just weeks later, all this stuff about aliens coming out, is actually the messaging that people who have these abduction experiences get from the aliens. There's a particular unified worldview that the aliens present to the people in these abduction experiences.
These alternative notions about how we need to transcend ourselves. We need to become more than what we are. Mm-hmm. We need to become as gods. Mm-hmm. And they're going to show us how. Again, to me, the messaging is the most crucial element of all of this. And because the messaging has had such a wide and far reach, just the fact that you had to ask the question tells you this has had such a reach that people can't think about one without the other.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, and that is significant because that's what we would like to call mental training. Mm-hmm. Okay, you have been trained to think about this topic this way.
Okay, so the template that you're using to understand this is like science fiction, right? These are an advanced race of beings from somewhere else. But the template that every other society before us has used is a spiritual one.
So Sean Ryan had on a priest who made this interesting point.
If you listen to the people who have been alienly abducted, it's always like the aliens are always telling them, oh yeah, we're here to save humanity. Well, that's Jesus Christ's role, not aliens. We're here because human beings can't save themselves, and we're here to basically usher in a new era. Yeah, that's because the elites want to get away from or at least the demons want to get away from Christianity as the ruling ethos that affects, the world cultures, etc. So the very same things that the demons actually want is the same type of stuff that you hear the aliens actually talking about.
And I had the chance to talk with Joseph Jordan, who has over 600 examples where the name of Jesus is used to end the abduction experience. That's very, very odd.
After 25 years of this research, working with over 600 plus cases of abductions, we have found that the name and authority of Jesus Christ and a personal relationship with him can not only stop this experience, but terminate it as a life pattern. These leading researchers, they told me that they too had come across similar cases. There's no other name out there, not Krishna, not Buddha, not Allah, not Muhammad, not any other name will stop this experience as a life pattern.
The sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they came and they slept with them. And these women gave birth to these children that were the Nephilim, that were the heroes of old, men of renown. And so there's a bunch of different interpretations in the ancient world as to what this means. The Greek translation of the Old Testament translates Nephilim as gigas, which is giants.
Every one of these cultures, and the American Indians, every one of these cultures have legends of the star people. These people that came, these gods or demigods, whatever, came and cohabited with women and produced hybrids. Now, where the confusion starts to set in is when this Hebrew passage was translated into the Greek in the Septuagint, the word they used for the Nephilim was gigantes. It sounds like giants, and it turns out they were giants, but that's not what the word means. Gigantes comes from gigas, which means earthborn. So in the Hebrew, they're called the fallen ones. In the Greek, they're called the earthborn.
The book of Jude in the New Testament and also the book of 2 Peter are actually referencing this same event, and they're writing about it like it is a literal thing that happened, not like it's a legend or a metaphor.
But in verses 6 and 7, Jude writes, and the angels, and by the way, this is in the Greek, so it's not ambiguous, and the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of that great day, even as Sodom and Gomorrah, and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth for an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire.
I do think we can put a couple of these pieces together in a legitimate way in order to form a picture of what I think that this great deception is going to look like.
The deception is an imposter who comes in the name of Christ, who presents himself as the Savior, the Son of God, and of course his God is the dragon. Okay, so what you're going to have is you're going to have an inversion of the gospel. It's Luciferianism. It's the lie. It's the Luciferian lie that Yahweh was that Yahweh was a tyrant who enslaved mankind, and that it was actually this figure we call Lucifer, which is actually a misnomer from the Vulgate. This being that the Bible defines as the devil, and Satan, who was in Eden, the Garden of God with Eve, that being will be presented as the real benefactor of mankind. This is the Promethean benefactor of mankind. This is the good guy. He's pro-humanity. He enlightens us. He breaks the shackles of Yahweh and liberates mankind. That's the lie.
How does all of this tie back into the Epstein files and tie back into the type of interest that Epstein and his network had?
We sort of have a few little like talking points in terms of understanding
the paranormal and the supernatural, right? We know what demons are. We know what angels are. So we kind of apply that loose knowledge, blanket it all over all of this and go, this is a deception.
Yep.
I don't have to look at it. I know what this is. What is it? What would you tell people? What is it? If there was a true file dump, based on your experience and what you've gone through, people you've talked to, what do you think that the church should know?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I don't like getting into the nuance of wordsmithing, semantic tearing apart, because it's just
more nuance.
It intentionally creates confusion. So as a baseline, it's 100% powers of darkness. So I don't care if you want to call them demons. I don't care if you want to call them fallen angels. I don't care if you want to say it's an influence campaign from the federal government, or really Northrop Grumman. Their name is on everything. The private sector and what they're doing is on everything. But it's powers of darkness driven, period. So I don't care if you have a Jake Barber or a Greer or a Bledsoe or whoever, or a Pasulka, and I don't care if you have, I have guys from my platoon work at Groom Lake, Area 51. They're private contractor. They work, I know people in all these different fields, and it's like, the bottom line is it's powers of darkness, period.
Yeah.
So they're channeling, they're astral projecting, they're having transcendental meditation, they're doing pharmacological interventions, they're using children. The blood of the innocent is the currency of their dark economy across all things. All UAP, NIH, UFO things all tie back into global trafficking campaigns and ritualistic child sacrifice. Every single thing that's ever got dug into comes back to that.
Yeah.
And again, because that's the currency and how they're breaking open to receive the advanced knowledge for the tech. This is empirical data. This is what's being collected through these different black projects and these SAPs and CAPs, and then being consolidated to present to, at the congressional level and the policymaker, their findings are, and which is like Jack Valet and all these guys say this. And there's so many people say this. Graham Hancock.
Yep.
It's all about channeling through altered states of consciousness to receive special, enlightened, higher frequency information. And every single, nobody is saying anything different. I don't care if they're God haters. I don't care if they're pseudo God lovers, like, this Diana Pasulka with the Vatican, whatever, theological researcher, or like, Bledsoe intermixing Christ into, by the way, he was tripping balls.
Yeah.
When he had this experience. Like, those are things that are all in these reports that I'm seeing that nobody else is talking about. And so it doesn't matter what somebody's preference of interpretation is. The baseline is powers of darkness driven. Call it whatever you want to call it. It is 100% a satanic, luciferian, high level influence campaign, even with the tech and even with the information.
If this disclosure movement and if all this stuff about aliens does continue to ramp up, and if things do play out this way, be on guard. Don't be deceived by this. There's going to be signs and wonders. There's going to be things that are going to be very impressive and so believable that they could deceive even the elect, right? And so I want to give you guys a clue of what is agreed upon within ufology and within all of the people who are studying aliens, how that comports with the book of Revelation.
You'll discover there's three types of these so-called alien creatures that emerge. The grays, those are the diminutives, short, you always see them in the entertainment media. There's another group that seem to appear, but sometimes called the Nordics or the Pleiadians. They're about 6 foot tall, they're blonde, blue-eyed, they look like people. Could be around us now. And there's a third group that are the most grotesque of them all, what it's sometimes called the reptilians. These are scaly, weird creatures that look like a refuge from some grade B science fiction movie. There's weird stuff. Well, these always show up. It's interesting, in Revelation 16, verse 13, 14, I've always wondered, how does the world go to war against God? And John tells us, I saw 3 unclean spirits like what? Like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty. I think God is going to use some kind of strange creatures, demonic or whatever, to draw the world into this confrontation that is part of the climax that Revelation and the Old Testament deal with.
These, what we call in Western vernacular, aliens, are not interstellar travelers. They're not from a galaxy far, far away. They are actually part of a dimension that exists within our reality, sort of over top of this planet, that the Bible calls spiritual. The sci-fi age that we live in calls interdimensional, but we're talking about intelligent beings. From a biblical perspective, they want to deceive people and they want to receive worship from people. They want to be viewed as the saviors of humanity in this great deception. And so the reason that I'm making this video is to try to spell this out and say, if this ends up coming to be true, if this ends up rolling out according to this prophecy, then we need to be on guard and aware and not deceived by it, recognizing that these, to use Western vernacular, alien characters would not be good dudes. These would be nefarious characters in the plot.